Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of What If Civilization Started Over. In the last episode, we saw Asia get filled up, and following that, Norway discovered the Americas and colonization kicked off. And after episode 14, this is the finalized map of the Americas, and this is the finalized map of Oceania, with China owning all of Australia. It's just unexplored. However, this episode, there will be a certain treaty dividing up a certain continent that did certainly happen in the real world inside of Germany. Well, not this Germany. It's going to happen in a different place. But right now we're going to see colonialism continue, and we'll see what else happens. So first of all, we're going to look at more exploration. I'm going to go a little bit more in detail this time. But France finding the lowlands of America, I guess the flatlands really. They're going to quickly explore that, and America is slowly but surely being discovered more and more. And just like that, all of this is discovered, and we are going to slowly start moving into this land here. What the heck? Korea is going to keep on moving in towards this way, and we're going to see eventually the rest of Nevada and like the plains area is discovered. And really, most of America is now discovered, and this is almost forming the actual border between America and Canada. However, that's not really how it ends up happening because there's also exploration up here. And exploration slowly but surely fills in, and this lake gets discovered right here. And I just want to give you a few notes. Inside of the industrial era, which is happening right now, it's kind of like there's the industrial revolution happening inside of Europe. Mainly inside of Europe. However, there is a major industrial revolution inside of Red. There's also an industrial revolution inside of India and Eastern and a bit of Southeastern Asia. It's less than like the rest of the world, but definitely in Southeastern Asia, and then definitely in Eastern Asia with Korea, Northern Japan, and China. And that's pretty much it. Forgot about Russia. There's an industrial revolution there as well. But inside of the Americas, we also want to talk about how there is guns. So, not these guns aren't being used to like find any sort of things or whatever, but there are in fact guns. But France is going to expand, and they're going to expand pretty far into these lands here, and not really expand. Most of it is just claiming stuff. But here we are with all of this here being claimed. And if I were to give you an exact look at what it is, it looks like this. The final borders of this kind of look like that, and it's very, very straight lines. But Korea will also move in, and Korea's claims will look like this, and this here will be finalized looking like this, and this is really not a good border. This is not agreed by many. Most people in France think the border should stretch all the way out to the edge of the Nevadan desert, and then people in Korea think it should stretch all the way out to the rest of the plains. But that is an argument for next episode. Over here in Ireland, they will expand their claim, almost reaching, actually no, in fact, reaching all the way down into France's claims here, and Norway, who hasn't done much over here after like being mad about all of their colonialism being failed because of the leader's wife. They're going to expand, and they're going to expand all the way to the edge of exploration so far, and that will also come with more exploration as well. Don't worry, guys. With the borders ending up like this, and they also start up their colony right here, and these are all separate little colonies inside of the Americas here. Inside of Mexico, they continue exploration. They explore down the east and the west coast, the eastern coast being explored by the Europeans, and the west coast being explored by Korea. And they kind of mostly leave the Rockies be because the Rockies are kind of hard to penetrate. But they do eventually end up filling all of this in and exploring all of it. And just like that, most of North America has been explored. Because Spain, they're still doing some work down here, and they get all the way down to the Panama Canal, which does exist in this universe. And they continue all the way up until the Darien Gap, and that's when they have to stop because of wildlife. The African Union is focusing over here. We're not going to go into South America just yet because I want to finish up in America. But Spain is going to go on a big expansion arc. First of all, they're going to reach over to the Pacific, and then they're going to expand this claim, claiming all of whatever country this is, Nicaragua. And then they're going to go into Costa Rica, and they're going to stop over here at the Panama Canal area. They go just a little bit further, I think. Yeah, that's about where the Panama Canal is. And then they continue making claims over here. They form another colony right here, and this colony expands across this thing, reaching over to the Pacific Ocean side. And obviously, the Pacific will be a lot less maintained than the Atlantic. Obviously, it's going to be maintained the same amount, but it's just a bit harder to maintain because there's not harbors and stuff. There's not much harbors because the Atlantic side, it can just, that can go straight to Spain. However, the Pacific side can't really go straight to Spain. They have to cross over to the Atlantic side. But the Pacific side still expands nonetheless. And eventually, this whole central area is claimed. And now there is the Treaty of Mexico between Korea, France, and Spain. And this Treaty of Mexico will divide up Mexico accordingly among Spain, France, and Korea. So the first order of business is how they will split it up. But they will not split it up nicely. They are not agreeing much on this. There is a big dispute over here in Florida, which Spain is still salty about. So they're not going to be too happy about how this goes down no matter what. And Korea also is not going to be happy about how this goes down no matter what because they want the planes. And then France will also not be happy about how this goes down no matter what because, number one, they have the border dispute with Spain and Florida, and then also they want the Navidian Desert, which doesn't look like that. It looks more like kind of like this, I think, something like that. It expands out to there. But yeah, so we'll see how this goes. And here is the final borders of everything. As you can see, Texas is very much so visible. That's because Texas runs along a river, this little river right here. Yeah, that's why you could see it. If you didn't know, I run a lot of borders along rivers. Like this border was mainly rivers. Over here, this entire border practically right here is a river. This is a river. This entire northern border practically is a river. And a lot of things are just running along rivers, and that's pretty cool. So that's why you can see Texas so well here. And I'm just now noticing how unbelievably like weird. I mean, I'm not sure because I'm looking at my second monitor and it looks completely fine. You can see the difference, but for me, it just looks really weird. So yeah. But we see Korea taking over all of this, and then Spain gets that. They don't get too much. However, there is a small purchase that is made over here in Baja California. And I don't know why I called this a small purchase. This isn't really a small purchase. It's more of a big one. But we see Spain claiming all this. So here we go. And exploration will continue. We reach all the way up to here. And this lets other colonies continue expanding. And as you can tell, Ireland is close to being able to cut Norway off of the rest of this. However, they could just go across the Hudson. I don't think it would be called the Hudson in this thing, though. I don't know why they would call it the Hudson. I don't think a guy named Hudson would find it. But anyway, we're going to go into South America now that most of this is actually, wait, we're not going to go just yet because more exploration is going to be happening up north. And by a bit more, I mean a lot more. I don't think I said a bit more. I think I just said more. But the Siberian Union, which I don't know if I mentioned that last episode, but this is the Siberian Union. That's what I'm going to be calling them. They didn't really, their main thing was down here in like this central core area or something like that or whatever. However, they eventually expanded to this and then they unionized together because they were weak. But they're mostly Siberian. I mean, Siberia is mostly over here, like right in this central area. But screw that. They're pretty cool. They're going to be Siberian. But anyway, them and Korea will expand. And Korea expands a lot, forming this whole thing, and I forgot to color this in, my bad. But then up here, the Siberian Union will actually purchase some of this land. They don't purchase it, it's just, I'm redoing how this happened, because I didn't really like how big Korea became. And this is what it ends up looking like. I know that I just said that they're weak, but that does not mean that they're incapable. So this is what they're looking like. However, they are going to sell some of this land. So, this land will be sold over to France. And just like that, now there's even more tensions between, now there's tensions between Korea and the Siberian Union because, hey, you could have sold that to me and we could have been looking a lot bigger, but they didn't sell it to Korea and now they don't look a lot bigger. It's over here inside of this, like, area between, these two guys, they are completely very, very jealous of these European powers and Eastern Asian powers and Southeastern Asian powers. I mean, not really powers, but people that are able to go colonize, and they're very mad about this, especially Rome. And Red is very mad about this. However, Rome will be doing something about it, but not just yet. Actually, maybe just yet. The episode's getting kind of long. I've already been recording for 20 minutes, and I've been talking for 20 minutes, it feels like. So let's begin. Let me turn on my my major cities for this. There is one major city in the island of Crete, and if you looked at the title of this episode, you would notice that this episode is called the Crete Conference. What are we doing in the Crete Conference? Well, we are dividing Africa. This is basically our world's version of the Berlin Conference. I don't know why I went here. Berlin's more like right here. But this is this world's version of the Berlin Conference. Rome, who has been unsatisfactory. I don't know if I used that word correctly. Good job me if I did. But Rome has not been happy with how they aren't able to go colonize, so they will invite the powers of. They will invite Europe mainly, and then they would also invite other countries like India and Blue over to this small island nation. I mean, not island nation, small island of Crete. Um, One key thing I want to mention is that they do not invite red. Ha, loser. But this is out of spite because, well, number one, Rome doesn't like red. Number two, Rome wants to have power. Red has been gulping up all of the power, and not allowing for much wars to happen. As you can see, there's three powers in this small little region: Russia, Rome, and Red. India is still here, but they're not really in this region. China and Korea, they're also here, but they're not in that region. So this is the great powers of this like area, and they all form a triangle if you connect their capitals, which is pretty cool. That's cool. That's a little cool thing. But anyway, sorry. Rome is going to invite all the nations of Europe. Most of the nation. Actually, no, it is. No, it's not all the nations of Europe because this guy's not getting invited. And this guy is also not getting invited, and this guy is also not getting invited. Wow, that's crazy. So much spite being given out. They are invited, but only to watch. But what is going to happen? Well, inside of this conference, they are going to divide Africa. Let me give you the rules of what is happening. So Rome hosts this conference, and they choose who is invited. The countries who are invited to actually partition Africa. I'm not going to say who's not invited because there's no point. I mean, who is there to watch the conference because that's irrelevant. But it's Rome, South France, North France, Catalonia, Spain, Rome, of course, Orange, Russia, Poland, Norway, Denmark, Germany, this pink country, and this little lime country. And Ireland. I forgot about them. And that is it. Finland is technically they're invited, but they don't really want anything from this conference, so that's why I didn't list them off. Same with Ukraine, they're invited, but they didn't want anything, so I didn't list them off. But they are invited, and if they want to take bunch in to take some land from Africa at any point, they can. They're allowed to. That's what they're. Jesus, that is what they are there for. However, they do not want to take any land, so yeah. And Red is not invited to just watch or partition Africa at all. Blue is also invited. I forgot to mention that, and so is India. Because these are two major powers who are not African, who are not like literally African, but they have claims inside of Africa. Like India, they have this claim inside of Africa, and Blue has recently massive claims inside of Africa. If you remember, they became a dictatorship. So yeah, and then of course the African countries are not invited. Not even whatever you call the African Union, which, by the way, they do have a colony inside of South America, but I'm not going to show us South America at all this episode because it's kind of irrelevant. Fine, I'll do a bit of exploration. India doesn't do any exploration, by the way, but there's a bit of exploration. However, no colonial expansion, but that's it. But the purpose of this conference is to divide Africa into colonial claims, and they're not immediately going to conquer it. Basically, there's going to be rounds, and inside of each round, you draw up your claims, and there's a lot more to it. Don't worry. But each round, countries will secretly submit their claims, so they will not do it publicly. They will draw up their claims and then show it off. So in every single round, there's a certain round. Well, inside of that round, all of the land that you claim has to be connected. In the next round, you can keep connecting that land. However, you can also go into a completely different area to make completely different claims. So let's say Red, they're not invited. I'm just using them as an example because it's obvious they're not going to do anything. Let's say they make a claim over this this area around this country in the first round. They can't go over here to this orange country to make a claim around them in the first round as well, unless that claim is connected. However, in the second round, they're able to make an unconnected claim over this orange country. However, the reason they wouldn't connect them in the first round is because claims are not really going to be claims can't be like unrealistic and insanely large. Because, well, number one, you can do that, but you're probably not going to get as much as you would if you were to make smaller claims. So yeah, and overlapping claims are allowed. So what that means is if you overlap your claims, that is fine. That will be sorted out at the very end after all the rounds are over and all of Africa that is wanted is divided. By the way, the African Union is scary, so a lot of European countries will not try and capture it, except for Spain, of course, because they want Morocco. They're like, Morocco is mine because, well, technically it is. They originally were here and then it broke away. So then I guess technically it's not. And is this technically the descendant of that Cornwall country originally? Is it? I don't know. I'll let you guys theorize. So how are these claims made? Well, the claims are made in secret. The leader of the country, some diplomats, and the military leader will leave the conference as, or well, just like secretly make their claims over what they want, so that way they can't purposefully, in spite, overlap claims with a certain country. And then at the very end of the round, all the claims are revealed and overlapping claims are marked down. And this prevents spite claiming on purpose. And the rounds continue until Africa is either number one, fully claimed, or number two, nobody wants more land. If a claim is made in the first round, in the second round, and all the rounds after that, no one is able to overlap that, and that goes for every single round. Because that would just be spite once again. So once a claim is made, and if there's no overlapping claims inside of that claim, then you are fine for the rest of the conference. And in the very final round, so this is after either no one wants land or Africa is fully claimed or has claims. It is voting only, so that is I'll explain that. So when you have a dispute, it will be settled by a vote. However, it's not a majority dispute, but I'll talk about how that works in a second. But who gets to vote on a dispute? To vote, a country must have a claim involved in the dispute, meaning yes, they can vote for themselves because of a certain point system that's going to happen. Or they must have a nearby claim in the same region. They can also, if they border that country or are relevant around that country, so Rome is relevant to Poland, and if Poland has an overlapping thing, then Rome gets to vote because Poland is relevant to Rome. However, Spain is not relevant to Rome. Not even France is relevant to Rome, and not even this pink country and this country here is relevant to Rome. It's only really the bordering countries. Norway would be relevant to Rome because they're just across the waters. And for example, Norway would also be relevant to Russia, even though they're across waters. And a country inside of a dispute gets to automatically vote for themselves because of how the points work. Voting is based off of power, not equality. Basically, it's not a normal majority rules. So each country has voting points, and smaller countries or less relevant countries would get 1 point. These 1 point countries are local or minor economic influence, meaning so the countries don't really have that much of an economic influence. You get 2 points for voting if you have regional influence in economy, and then you get 3 points if you have major European influence, which is maximum. And then for the special cases, like for the non-European powers, like India and Blue, they each get 2 points because they do have major influence over European trade and stuff like that. I mean, economy. However, the points cannot be split, and they can't go, and they all go to one side. And if you overclaim too much, you are likely to lose overlaps. And smaller realistic claims are safer for these countries. And they may, if they want to prevent humiliation or something like that, they're able to pull out of disputes voluntarily, and they're also able to negotiate before voting. These sovereign African states are not automatically claimed. If no one wants to fight them, they remain independent. However, if they were to want to fight them, they would have to fight them so that way they could get that claim because they can't just like snap them out of existence. And well, that's where I'm gonna list off one more thing. What happens if a claiming country is destroyed? So a country who is claiming something gets taken over or annexed during this conference, because this conference will last like about a year. That's how long this conference will be, just because of the complicity of it. And then also they have to think, they have to strategize, and between each round they go home for like a month or so. And yeah, well, technically it's not gonna happen just yet because I don't want to spoil anything. But after the conference ends, and all the there's no more overlaps, all these countries will work together to get rid of these African countries. Blue and India do not count as African countries. Their claims cannot be touched because they're part of the conference. But yeah. So, how many points does each country have? So, how many points does each country have? I think I just said that. Oopsie daisies. Sorry. So, how many points does each country have? Starting off with the obvious, Blue has 2 points. India has 2 points. Spain and France each have 3 points. Catalonia has 2 points. South France has 1 point. Ireland has 1 point. However, they're pretty strong. It's just they don't have much influence over mainland Europe. Norway has 3 points. However, that could have been a little bit biased because of Rome. They don't really have much influence over like Western Europe. However, they're still very important. Russia has 3 points. Rome has 3 points. This was assigned by Russia, not themselves. Ukraine has 1 point. Poland has 2 points. Germany has 2 points. Denmark has 1 point. Pink has 1 point. This weird lime country has 1 point. And orange, they're not really a European power, but they have 2 points because Rome just likes them. So that is how this will all go about. I'll have to keep track of that for when voting happens and stuff like that. But let's start off with round 1. Round 1, everyone will start making claims. We will see our first claims by the European powers and then other stuff. I mean, this is just every European country actually, so not except for you three. You're not relevant. You're not invited at all. You aren't even considered European yet. Your Western neighbor, who's even further away from Europe, is considered European. Ha, losers. Everyone will get to make their claims. I don't think I said Finland. They have 1 point. But we'll see how each claim is made. So, starting off, we are going to look at what Rome claims. And I think a lot of you could, if you have been watching the series, you're able to guess what they're going to claim. Yep, that's right. They're going to claim over this. They're going to claim all of Carthage and a little bit of the African Union. And that's kind of obvious because, well, they just got kicked out of this place and they want this place back. Spain, they are going to make a bit of a risky claim. I don't know if they're going to be able to pull this off too well. But they're going to make this claim, and yeah, as you can see, this overlaps. So yeah, they're going to claim over Morocco, the Moroccan area. So this is like their core Moroccan area that they had claimed, that they had control over, plus a little bit a long time ago. So as you can see, the first 2 countries to go are colonial, or post-colonial. Inside of Africa, they used to have colonies, or I guess claims inside of Africa. Moving on, we're going to go to Catalonia, who will make a good claim over Egypt. However, it does overlap with Rome's claim just a little bit. So this is a pretty big claim. However, it won't affect them if no one else overlaps it. Let's hope no one else does. Or, I mean, well, Catalonia should hope so. I think we're going to be moving west to east. I just started out with Rome because, I don't know. So I guess we'd go to Ireland next. Ireland is going to be our first country in southern Africa area. But they're going to make this claim over this Equatorial Guinea area. And this is what it looks like. Now, this claim may look pretty big, but that's just because, like, they claim these 3 islands, which are very small, so this isn't really a big claim. Anyway, South France. Their first claim will be practically over these 2 countries, plus this little spot. And then France's claim will look like this. This looks kind of weird. Yeah, that's right. France's claim will look like this. This is a pretty big claim, however, it's not going to affect them if no one overlaps it. Speaking of overlapping it, this weird-looking pink country, yeah, they're going to claim all this. Sadly for them, though, they don't have as many points. They only have 1 point, and France has like 3 points, I think, or something like that. So that probably won't go towards their way. Anyway, this weird-looking lime country, they're going to make a claim. Where will it be? It will be over here. And their claim will look like this. It's rather large, honestly. Anyway, next up is going to be Germany. Germany is going to make another claim, and this one will also overlap this one. So Germany will claim this. Germany has a big overlap with them. However, I have a good feeling they'll also have a good overlap with India. So this is a pretty wanted zone, like right here. This is a pretty wanted zone. A lot of people want this like little area right here. Anyway, moving on, we have Denmark. Quick little side note, Denmark does pull out after only the first round because they don't have anything else they want to do. So Denmark claims this right here, which I think is a pretty good claim for them. Next up is Norway. The Norwegian country is pretty good at what they do. They have a good feeling they'll have a pretty good claim. So, here's their claim, and if you couldn't already tell, they respect the South Africans here. They do not overlap any single country. It's pretty cool. Next up is not Rome. We already did them. Poland. Next up is Poland. Poland will make a claim pretty much only over the Sudanese country. However, they'll go a bit into Libya. And that's their overlapping bit. By the way, no country is allowed to overlap India's or Blue's claims because those are countries that are already involved in Africa and they're inside of this, so they're obviously not allowed to take that. We're going to be skipping over Finland and Ukraine because I said they don't really do anything. But Russia will make a claim, and they make a pretty big claim. It overlaps three. There's a triple overlap right here. There's also a triple overlap right here. And, well, that's not good. They also completely overlapped, this pink country's claim, like, entirely. So they probably won't be getting this eastern half here. And finally, that leaves orange. Never mind, there's also blue in India, but, orange will claim this, which you can't even see their claims. Oh, that's because I'm not on the right layer. Orange will claim this here, and luckily for them, it does not overlap with Norway's claim at all. It looks like it does, but it doesn't. And this is their claim. All of, Madagascar, except for this northern tip. Now, moving on, it's time for blue, and I think this is a pretty exciting one. Blue's claim is this. This is a giant claim. And then finally, India. I warned you, orange. India is going to claim all of this. So here we are with our final claims of Africa after round 1. So we already have a bunch of overlaps, specifically 15, I believe, if I counted correctly. But it looks like there's about 15 overlaps just from the first round, which is definitely not good. But there will be multiple countries that pull out after the first round. The first country that pulls out is Denmark, and the second country to pull out is Norway, surprisingly enough. They did claim a lot, so it is fair that they are pulling out. But now we are going to see the second round commence. Wait, hold on, I lied. More countries pull out. This pink one right here, that pulls out. And after it's revealed that there's 15 overlaps, a few more countries will decide to pull out. So, example number 1, Poland pulls out, and that's because they got all they wanted, and they think that they will be able to get most of what they wanted as long as they pull out, and they are seen as a good soul. But let's see the rest of round 2 commence. So, inside of round 2, we are going to see Rome go first. Actually, I'm just going to do it normally this time. Spain goes first. They are going to claim, by the way, now you are unable to obtain any of the claimed land already, so you can't purposely overlap anything. So yeah, whatever you claimed in round 1, whatever was claimed in round 1 can now no longer be touched. So Spain, now also they know what each country wants, so they have a good feeling that Ireland is going to want this here. They're going to try and cut them off. Spain's going to make this claim right here, which is rather far from their first claim. Next up, Catalonia. Oh shoot, no, they pull out. Actually, there's nothing else they could do. So I guess both of these guys pulled out, so I don't know how that would affect the final thing. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. Okay, so next up is South France, which claimed here. Yeah, they are going to claim all of this. So that's a pretty good claim. That's connecting their first claim, because it goes along through here, kind of like that, just like there. This here too. I don't know why I just missed it. But that would also include these islands, so I guess I'll have to stretch it all the way back out. And boom, just like that, we have this. Next up is France, and they are going to continue with their claims. So, here's their next claim. It's resembling West Africa. I lied, this is not their next claim. There is a bit more to it than this. Their claim continues like so, and now their claim is really big. So, next up, I guess it would be this Lime country, because you pulled out. So, it's Lime Neck. Oh no, I forgot about Ireland, shoot. Ireland! What are you gonna do? Oh, Spain was right. Yeah, you're gonna keep on claiming down here. However, you don't make as big as a claim this time. So you have a very small claim, which probably would proclaim that they would just get this northern part, while Spain gets the rest, assuming no one else touches Spain's claim. But now we have Lime. What they claimed this last time? They claimed this. Yeah, so they're mad that they lost this land here. So, hoping to get more land, they're going to do this. And now their claim looks like this. Did you pull out? Orange did not pull out, surprisingly enough. I thought they would, you know. They're probably only going to end up getting Southern Africa, though. Geez, Southern Madagascar. Oh my god. Who's up next? Germany would be up next. Germany, hoping to be able to get some more land at least, is going to continue their claim down, and luckily enough for them, they don't overlap with Spain at all. However, in the end, they would probably just slam these two claims together. So in the end, one of these claims would probably extend to the other border. In my opinion, I'd probably connect it to Germany's border because it's a little bit nicer, it's a little bit more realistic. But to be honest, what am I talking about? This is basically the Berlin Conference. There's not going to be nice borders. Look at France's claims. What the heck is this? Anyway, moving on, we have Germany just made a claim. Oh, it's Rome. It's Rome now. Rome is going to make a good claim. Sadly for them, though, their claim overlaps a lot with France. However, it does slip out at a point. So I don't know what would happen here. It would probably just, I don't know. Moving on, we have Russia. Russia, scared that they're not going to be able to get enough, is going to claim the rest through here. And yet again, they're going to overlap with France. And they are not able to claim this. It's already claimed right here. Wow, okay, what are you doing, Russia? But they're going to claim all of this, and that will be the final reveal, seeing the rest happen here. And at this point, a lot more countries will pull out. You will pull out. Russia pulls out. Ireland pulls out. Also, but at this point, all of these claims have been revealed. Oh shoot, I forgot you two. Oh bad. Oh crap. Okay. So blue, their claim is right up through here. By the way, this is the dictator making these lines. I just want to point that out. But that's their claim. It's pretty good claims. And blue that's their claim, and then there's you. Yeah. So you saw this was from the last round, so they're just gonna claim. Whoa. They're just gonna claim the rest of Madagascar, just the northern piece, because they can't overlap Orange's last claim. So continuing what I was talking about a second ago, Ukraine and Finland will officially pull out. They didn't make any claims the first two rounds because they were just like observing. However, they're going to officially pull out, meaning they even if they wanted to step in for a minute, they couldn't claim any land. India is going to pull out, and then finally, blue is going to pull out. So that leaves only a few more countries: Rome, France, South France, Germany, and Rome. Not even Germany. No, Orange also pulls out, and then Germany. I forgot about them. They pull out. And did Denmark pull out? Yeah, they pulled out. So that leaves only four countries, which will allow us to move on to round three, which will not commence normally. This will be the very last bit, so they're going to wait until after. So round three is going to be voting. So this is going to be deciding the actual borders, and then round four will be dividing the rest up between Rome, South France, France, and Spain. So that technically means that these are the final four. And now they're going to settle the claims. Let me pull up another layer for this. So here's what Africa looks like normally. The first thing that's going to happen is Norway's claim is fully granted to them. So here we go with them. And this doesn't reach into South Africa. I just didn't want to have to redraw that border. So here is Norway's claim, and this is the first official claim inside of Africa right now. Next up is India's claims. So India will obviously get this, and what we're doing first is just we're allowing these overlapping, non-overlapping claims will be granted. So if your claim isn't overlapping whatsoever, then your claim is granted. Orange will get this claim over southern Madagascar here. So there they go. Germany, you're going to get most of your claims, actually. So there they go with that. This is also cut off right there, I think. Wait, is it? Where is it cut off? It cuts off right here, like that. Yeah, that's where it cuts off. So that's their non-overlapping claims. Next up is this weird-looking lime countries overlapping claims, or I guess non-overlapping claims, which look like this. I said that kind of weirdly. Cis. So that's their non-overlapping claims. And the rest is pretty much just overlapping claims in southeastern Africa. Blues, non-overlapping claims. It's actually most of their claims. They only have an overlap here with lime. So this is their claim, and they're probably going to get a plus right here through that. So that's all of this Africa part. Next up, Spain is going to get their claim right here. And like I said before, it's going to definitely just reach out to Germany right here. And now their claim looks like this, which doesn't really look so big now that I'm coloring it like this. But it looks more like this. Yeah, that makes it look better. So that's their claim that is granted to them. Ireland barely has claims granted to them. A lot of their claims overlap. So that's their non-overlapping claims that they get. Russia is not going to be getting this land here until the voting happens, because technically this would mean that this would be breaking one of the rules, because that means that they claimed all this in the first round, right? So if you were to separate this, then this would be separate land from your claim, meaning technically that would be breaking round one rule. So they won't be getting this until the voting happens. I mean, I don't even know if they would get it when the voting happens. I'm just saying, like, if they were to get it, it would be happening during the voting. But then their other claim happens to be right here. So here are their claims, and it would be really nice if they're just able to connect them. Next up is this looking, this is South France right here. They're pretty strong, to be honest. But their claims look like this. So here they are. And I'm just now realizing that none of Denmark's claims don't overlap, meaning that they might not get any land. We'll see how that goes down. Anyway, France's turn. So here's their claims. Then that's most of Africa's claims not done. Done. So next up is Spain's claim. That doesn't overlap, and in fact, most of it does. I mean, just a little bit of it does overlap. I don't know how they're meant to pull this off, but they might pull it off somehow. Where's their next claim? Their next claim is down here. This claim would be pretty helpful to let them have a bit of like a colony close to them. So these are the final claims of Africa, with non-overlapping borders, and then we will next up we will see how the voting happens. So starting off over here, we're going to do from north to south in Africa. So number one, Spain's claim. So Catalonia is the only. There's Catalonia, um, South France, France, and Ireland who can all vote for Spain, and well, three of those guys were just in a war with them, so I don't know how this little piece of land's gonna turn out for them. Yeah, okay, that seems pretty correct. I don't think I even need to show the votes because, well, three, three, um, four would already be voting against them because Rome is allowed to vote, and then that just leaves them and France, and I don't even know if France would back them up. So they're going to not get this claim here, meaning that this little bit here will be going over to you, whatever your name is, Rome, expanding their claim just slightly. Next up over here is Catalonia and Rome, and I just realized for that it would technically be also Rome's relevancy, but it was mainly because Rome is just has much bigger claims than Spain does right here. It was just Spain's outsiders. So yeah, I guess I don't know, but Rome and Catalonia, they are going to get to decide well what happens here. So the thing is, Catalonia pulled out in round two, so that is why the people around them kind of agree with them more. Rome stayed throughout the entire conference, so Catalonia is going to just get this. This is what they get. I can't even see what orders are happening here. What the heck? Okay, Catalonia gets right here. Oh, and then I erased this. Okay, so here's what these borders finally look like, and that looks pretty good. Next up is the divide here. So France's will just be pushed up to the border of Rome's, and then France will just kind of do this, just a bit of a straight line there. So here's this finalized. So yeah, continuing down south, this is going to be settled between Catalonia and Poland. They're deciding. They say that they want to decide themselves what would happen because they think they can work out an agreement that would work. Because well, they know how to make this work. So Poland, they get to reach out to see. This is how their claim works here. It looks like this. And then Catalonia will get the rest of their claim. Because to be honest, Poland, wasn't really interested in Africa too much, at least as much as Catalonia was, and they both knew that. So that's why they decided to work this out themselves, and it was under supervision, so that way no certain wars could be started or whatever. So that's that finalized. And to be honest, these northern African countries will be hard for these countries to fight just because of how strong they are, especially the African Union. The African Union is going to be hard, especially Carthage, Libya. Oh, Catalonia has to fight Red. They have claims over where Red has. So this lime country is going to win the voting here. That's mainly because the European powers know lime more than they know blue. So that's mainly the reason why it ends up happening this way. Just really, that's kind of just what happens. So yeah. So there we go with these claims here. Next up, we have a big overlap here, and well, let's just say that this is a three-way thing, and let me just show you how the voting ends up happening. Yep, that's right. Germany doesn't get anything from out of this, and that's because, well, they just lost this vote, and they're very mad that they lost this vote because what the heck? There's this weird lime country that the creator doesn't even know the name of this weird lime country color, and then like I'm more powerful and all that. Like what the heck? What the heck? And well, a little something will happen over this. However, I'm just gonna wait until I'm finished with this. Next up, we're going to see this claim here. This is going to expand. Since blue already has way more than Russia has, and also they don't really have anything overlapping, well, that's why Russia is going to be the one expanding here. Russia is going to expand their claim all the way to here, and this thing will be settled with Russia getting it. This little thing right here, and well, the rest of this would probably just be given over to France, in my opinion. So here's France's claims finalized. I think finalized. No, not finalized. There's this little thing right here. So next up, this little thing right here. I actually have the council decides a good way to divide this. So France already has a lot of claims. They are not going to get anything out of this. This little pink country, they don't have any claims yet. Russia does. Russia is going to expand their claim in the northern part, and their claim will continue like so, ending up looking like this, and then it also continues like this right here. No, it doesn't. My bad. That is Ireland's claim that it continues like that. My bad. So, just like that, Ireland is now pretty big. And next up is the pink country. This one right here. So, with the trade-off happening up there in the north, they're going to get the rest of this to themselves. So originally their claim kind of went like this there through that. However, now it extends all the way out because they lost this northern part, which is kind of the deal they agreed on. And since no one claimed over this over here, it's going to be divided amongst not France, South France, and Russia. Russia's claims will expand up to here, and actually no, France will be included. Their claims will expand over to here. Lucky for France, it looks like they only have to fight this little thing right here. And then South France will have to fight Morocco. The African Union, and then some of those Liberian area countries over there. But anyway, their claim will expand to this because they don't want to fight the African Union. I mean, they're going to, but they don't want to fight them even more. So this is finalized up here in North thing area place. Next up is down here. This entire area is unclaimed. So what will we do with it? Well, why not give it to Germany? They already lost this over here. But they're not going to give it to Germany. Instead, they're going to give it to this lime country. Wow, they're really just rubbing this in Germany's face. I mean, they're not trying to, but they kind of are. I mean, they're not trying to. I'm saying that they just are rubbing it into the Germany's face. But their claim will end up looking like this. And honestly, I don't even know if they can maintain all of this. They are not that strong, but they're strong, but they're not that strong. So this is what their claims look like now. Next up, Spain will just get the rest of Africa here. No, nothing goes to France. They're not trying to rub this in. It's just how it's happening. But the rest of Africa will go to Spain. They're really just rage baiting Germany, huh? So that should be the rest of Africa. This isn't settled yet. Okay. So how do they settle this? They just give it all to India. Number one, India won the vote. That's all I need to tell you. India won the vote. I know I didn't really include the vote, and that's because it was kind of irrelevant because it just happened to work out most of the time. Oh, right, Denmark. Forgot about them. Denmark gets the rest of what's here. Because, well, their entire claim was overlapped. So they just get the rest of this here. And now let's see how the conquest happens. We'll do once again from north to south. Actually, no, we'll do from south to north because that's actually a lot more exciting because the stronger powers are up north. So starting out, Norway, they get their claims pretty easily. So here's Norway's claim. It's looking pretty nice. They reach all the way from the Indian Ocean to this ocean, South Atlantic. My bad, guys. But this is their claim. I don't really like the border up top, but that'll have to do. Spain will claim all of this. It's a pretty big claim, to be honest. However, there's a small crisis that's happening up north. I mean, not small, pretty big crisis. Germany is going to war. Yeah, that's right. They're that mad about this treaty. However, who are they going to war with? I mean, it's kind of obvious they're going to war with Lime. So within just only a few hours, they will quickly move their military in and capture the capital, which will eventually just capitulate the rest of the country. And the people at the Crete Conference are like, "Whoa, you can't just do that!" And then when they annex them, they're like, "Yeah, we can." And now they have to figure out what exactly they're going to do with Lime's claims because, well, Lime's claims are now no longer claimable by Lime because they're disappeared. So they bring up two options. Number one, all of Lime's claims will be left empty, and it will be left for independent countries to form. Just a reminder, these are the Europeans. I'm not pointing to real life Europeans, but they don't want independent countries in Africa when they're doing their conference of Africa. So the second option is the surrounding countries get to claim it, and that's what gets voted. Like it's a landslide. That is the what they want. Also, I'm really not liking these borders. Dang, they don't look nice. So how will this be divided here? We'll see. Next up is all of Germany's claims, and surprisingly enough, they don't lose any. They don't get punished at all for invading into this country. They don't really care too much for this country that got invaded. Here's Germany's claims. God, I hate these borders. Okay, we're gonna redo this actually. How does this look? This looks really bad. Okay. Sorry, Germany, but you're losing land. That's one thing that makes it look a bit better. I can't really point out what it is that looks bad. No, this looks bad too. There we go. I think that looks better. Yeah. And then this here, I don't like this divide here. So yeah, sorry Norway, but you're losing some land. Yeah, that looks better. in my opinion. It looks okay. And they're going to lose a bit more land just to make it look a little bit better. And I think that's good, for finalized here. Yeah, I like it, I like it. Okay, so next up, we're going to move into our first war, luckily enough for us. So, India is going to have to invade into this little country right here, and sadly for them, they are no match. India will quickly just sweep in, and they will surrender, because what else are they meant to do? I mean, I don't really think they're a bit isolationist. I mean, obviously they are. They aren't participating in anything. But they are completely dismantled and gone. So here they are, fully annexed. And then here goes the rest of the land to India, and there goes their capital. And the same thing will happen over here for this country. It doesn't go well for them. India invades their northern area, which is a little bit further down. They invade this northern area and they occupy all that. While Orange moves in to attack the rest. They move in, split the country in two, and to be honest, they just surrender. And let's see the peace treaty here. And this is just going to be the peace treaty dividing it between Orange and India. So here's what this looks like. I'm going to turn rivers off. Also, as you can tell, a really rare moment for me. I'm not following the rivers for the borders. If decolonization will ever happen, and it most likely will, I'm going to follow the borders when the new countries form, not the current borders, because that's just not logical. I'm going to follow mostly the borders that are rivery and stuff, whatever. Anyway, this is the final divide here, and this is also claimed by you. I don't know why this hasn't even been explored yet. Jeez, oh my god. And then the Comoros would definitely go to India. I don't know why that would ever go to Orange. India also makes a few claims up here in the north. So here's their new country. They definitely have a lot of straight borders here and there. Yeah, definitely straight borders. Next up, we have something else happening, probably. Oh, yeah, right, the dividing of this thing. Yeah, we'll figure that out in a second. Number one. You are not going to get anything. You, however, you're going to get a lot. You're going to get all of this. Yeah, Spain's going to get all of this, which I don't really like these borders, but we'll have to deal with it. And they will start their invasion into this country right here, which will just be this thing right there. That's all they invade. You expand up to here. That's all you do. And then, India, you expand a little bit more, and you take all of this while also invading into this country here, while Spain expands towards the rest of this, expanding their colony up even further. And then Blue will probably just claim the rest of this here. However, I'm going to do their actual claims first. I'm really mad that I had to remove this actual border that they have, because I really like this border, but it's fine. Then next up, they will be claiming this here. And they will invade into this. And now it's time to divide up that country. But in the end, their full borders will look like this. And they're probably going to have the most presence in Africa out of every country. But now let's divide up this little country right here. And this country being divided up will now look like this. And it's kind of weird to see it like this. In fact, it does look really weird. It's all like they're reaching in for each other. But whatever. Anyway, moving on. We have the rest of your claims going over to, I believe this is Ireland right here. Yeah, that's Ireland. All right. So, let me draw up Ireland here. So in the end, Ireland's claim will look something like this. And now moving on to this pink country here, whose claims will look like this, and they will also invade into this country right here, taking over this, which will then be annexed into their country. And I just realized I completely am ignoring provinces. Please let me fix this up here. So here we go. They have actual provinces over here now. And here we go here. I think that should be all. Yeah, that's all, I believe. Okay. So, moving on. We have Russia's claims, which are probably the biggest claims so far. And in the end, their borders will look like this. However, they still have to invade into this country. And they have to quite a bit. It will be rather easy for them, to be honest. They're going to invade just like so. They're going to sweep down through here, and they're going to also attack this way. And to be honest, this military here is no match for the Russian military, so you can't expect much from them. And this northern part will be under occupation until they are fully captured by, well, Denmark, I guess, has to do the rest. Which Denmark is a powerful country, in my opinion. They're really good. But speaking of Denmark, it is their turn to go take some claims. Starting out, their claims will look like this, but then they're going to have to invade. First of all, they're going to invade into this country, and this entire part will be under occupation, and then they're going to sweep down this panhandle. And they will take over all of that. Then they will move in through the rest of this country here, taking over all of it. And they will push through the final bits of the time, and they will do all that, making them finally look like this, and we can divide up this country here. And in the end, they will be divided up like this, and yeah, they'll look like this, my bad. And as you can see, Africa is really colorful now. It's going to become even more colorful in like like 30 episodes. But right now it's more colorful than it's ever been. For a big part of the series, it was just gray and white, but now it's very colorful. We have cyans, we have Norway colors, we have yellows, we have oranges. And they still have their capital here. Oh man, gotta erase that capital. We gotta erase that capital. We gotta erase that capital. I forgot to mention one thing. This Gambia country is not touched. They don't get touched by South France because they don't see a need to be there. They just don't want it at all, at all, at all, at all, at all. But oh man, they're gonna have to invade into African Union. Yikes. Okay. Also, I have a good feeling Spain is not going to be able to pull this off at all. Just want to point that out. However, South France does have a good chance at being able to do this. So first, we can start out with their actual possible claims without like invading anything. So here we go with all that, and as we can see, a little piece of that is already disconnected. But they're going to invade into the rest of this country here, which will allow for Denmark and them to have a treaty of this country. But the invasion is rather easy, and after just a little bit of time, they fully take over this country. Or, well, take over what they need to take over. So now they look like this, and they're going to now try to invade into the African Union. They're probably going to have a pretty hard time. However, they do have a lot of the European armies mixed in. That's what it's been this entire time, just the European armies mixed in. I'm just using the colors to indicate who's attacking what and, like, what they're going to get preemptively. Did I use that word correctly? Wow, I'm using such big words this episode. I'm probably not using them correctly, but whatever. Anyway, moving on, we have them claiming all this to this line bout. So there are multiple amphibious landings scattered across. They go here, they land here, and then of course they're going to land here to form this spearhead going in. And this is not going to go too well for them. Don't worry, by the way, they are currently also being invaded by Rome and by Spain at this moment. Like, all of this is happening pretty much at once. Anyway, they're going to continue their attack in through here, and this is going to go pretty well. And that kind of sets that northern border, which will allow these amphibious landings to have fun in the south of the country, which is basically just the West African part of the country. So I guess once this is taken over, or if this is taken over, it will pretty much just turn back into Morocco, but it's still going to be called the African Union. But they capture these islands here, and they continue their attack with the amphibious landings growing in population, and they keep on attacking in through this area. This northern amphibious landing connects up to the top of this thing, and Morocco tries to push back, or the African Union tries to push back from the top. However, that doesn't go as planned, and they get pushed back once again. And they're also unable to penetrate into this. And by the way, South France is not this strong. However, with Europe by their side and those European armies mixed in, they are that strong. And that will allow them to connect up these two amphibious landings. And once that happens, the amphibious armies will smush this back in. By the way, there are guns at this point. Just by the way, there's also probably cannons and stuff like that, and well, this will fall, and that is all they're going to do to the African Union. Next up is France's turn to go and attack. This is their only claim here. I mean, well, this is technically two claims, but whatever. But France is going to claim what they're going to claim, and actually most of it's just stuff. Let's get our line out. Okay, that's pretty good. It's a pretty good line. So they're going to make their whole claim. And then they're going to invade into this little trade country, which formed a few episodes back. However, to be honest, it's probably not so strong. They're going to get invaded on all sides and eventually just smushed in like so and fully annexed into this country. You can say goodbye to that capital. And by the way, if you guys were cheering for these African countries, don't worry. They will most likely end up coming back at some point. So yeah, but look at that. That's a weird looking border to see. I don't think I've ever used a diagonal border inside of this series. I've used straight borders, but that's easy to draw. However, diagonal borders are not so fun to draw. I've used them down here when I was making Antarctica, because I didn't want it to, like, it was weird, kind of. It was weird how it worked. So yeah, but anyway, that's their claim here. Now the rest of the claims besides this thing right here, so I guess Rome can just claim it. I mean, they actually can't even get into that. France probably went in through the already claimed areas. But now it's time for the fun parts. First of all, we're going to see what happens in the African Union. So Spain is going to hop in. They're going to go in and capture this area, and they're going to start approaching the capital. However, that's when they push back, because there's no way they're just letting the capital fall. What am I doing? However, they're going to push back, because there's no way they're going to let the capital fall like that. And, well, they're going to push back into Spain, and that's when Spain's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Hold on. we'll just sign white peace, okay? And they turn off their war, or well, they surrender over to West Africa. However, they're not quite done because they want some stuff. That's right, West Africa is going to be claiming some land here. West Africa takes claim over this thing. It's basically reverse of Spain because Spain, like real life Spain, because Spain had like this little sliver of an area right here, kind of like that, whatever, at some point. So yeah, that sucks for Spain. Pretty embarrassing too. However, while that's happening, Carthage is being invaded. So this is also number one. The reason that they lost that is number one, they weren't ready. They were on the front lines with wait, that was I don't remember what exactly happened. They weren't expecting it. However, this time they are expecting it and they are not expecting it. And also Rome has like backup power, they have backup people here. So yeah, Rome is able to easily invade into them. And they do. They land inside of here and they start pushing around the front lines here. They make an amphibious landing down south and they start pushing west as they sweep. And this seems to be the end for Carthage. And by the way, the military alliances are completely irrelevant because they can't even do anything. But Rome keeps on pushing west, and eventually they stop, and that's because the full country has been taken over at this point. And they take their little bit of time to go into U, and that is all that they do. So, what did they do? They fully annexed U, and I keep rhyming. Wow, I'm literally cat in the hat. And then Rome will take over this small piece of land. They only lose one province, so I guess that's good for Morocco. And then down south here, this is going to happen. So South France will take over all of this land here, and that's the final borders. So this is what the African Union now looks like. And then Rome is going to take over the rest of this land here. And just like that, Africa is fully filled in. That doesn't mean that we're done, though. We still have more stuff to do. But I was just mentioning that Africa is now fully filled in. I thought it was just pretty cool. Moving on to Catalonia. They are going to have to invade Red. They're probably going to make this a forced purchase or else a coalition. So Red is just going to have to give this over. They're so mad right now, by the way. They're, like, absolutely raging in their seats. Because they wanted to be invited to this coalition. I mean, this, like, entire thing. You can still see the Nile right here. You see the Nile? You guys see the Nile? It's right here. Pretty cool. Anyway, looks like Catalonia will be completely invading this country, Libya. All these Northern Africans have been very key throughout this entire series. However, now that the Europeans have gotten ahead of themselves and like their ego has gotten to their heads and stuff like that, they're not going to be around for too much longer. Libya has been a key player. So has Carthage, and so has Sudan. However, that doesn't really matter once it comes to colonialism because they don't really care for these actual countries and their actual sovereignism. And just like that, you will be fully taken over. We can get rid of that. And now it is time for the invasion of this country. I can't remember the Sudan. So I'm not actually going to end up following the provinces because, well, as you can tell, following the provinces for a lot of this things has made the borders look pretty nice, which is not a good thing. It's not realistic. I'm an hour and 43 minutes into recording. Jeez, oh my god. I hope this isn't long. Okay, so they are going to invade into you here. Oh god, I'm on the wrong layer. Yeah, they're going to get invaded into. So there goes Sudan pretty quickly, honestly. Well, northern Sudan. The rest of Sudan is going to go over to Poland, assuming they invade it correctly. So Poland invades it, and well, it's kind of the end of Sudan. So just like that, there's no more sovereign countries inside of Africa except for South Africa and the African Union, which is just lucky them. So there we are. Wow. Oh, and Gambia for some reason. Yeah. So this is gonna be a pretty cool border that I'm gonna make here. First of all, we're gonna grab out our lines. It's gonna go like boom. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Then it's gonna go like boom. Then it is going to go like boom, and then like boom. So sorry, province map, but you're not really gonna see the light of day. I could have pulled that off actually. Yeah, I'm gonna pull that off. Oopsie daisies. Yeah, I think this is gonna look good. Yeah, that's what it looks like. It looks pretty good in my opinion. And we're going to erase this here. And just like that, Africa has been divided. The European powers have claimed Africa. They've claimed the Americas. And the European powers are putting risk to sovereignty for these countries. And this marks the end of episode 15. However, I have a few more things I would like to tell you before you go, so I think you should stay. So actually, first of all, this isn't really such a cool thing, but you're continuing to expand here. Most of the expansion is down in the south because, well, the northwest is like freaking outback. But you expand like that, and that's looking pretty cool. Red is very, very angry that they were not invited to the Crete Conference. Crete is right here, by the way. They're mad that they weren't invited to that, and well, they have nowhere else to expand to. They can't expand into blue. They're going to be backed by European powers. And also, blue is just really strong in general. They also definitely can't go into India. There's no point in going to this country. They don't. They barely share a border with it. Green, they can't go to that. Cyan and Ukraine are basically their allies, and Russia would be very, very costly. So they are unable to really expand, and they were hoping that they could maybe go into some sort of place. They weren't invited to the Malaccan Conference. They weren't invited to the Crete Conference, and they definitely were not able to go and colonize the Americas. So they are devastated, and they're looking for places to expand. And let me tell you something. World War One is coming. Um, the year is about the late 1800s, about earlier 1800s, maybe like 1850s or so. So that's like mid-century 1800s. And World War One will kick off at about the year 1900, meaning the next couple of episodes are across 50 years. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. Brace for the next few episodes coming, and make sure to like, subscribe, comment down any ideas you have down below in the comment section. And until next time, see ya.